the illegal aliens that we're seeing who are crossing our very unsecure border of the atmosphere, and the U.S. government officials who are talking about the UFOs that apparently are 100 to 1,000 years more advanced than our technology is right now. I gotta say, I'm a little bit of an alien skeptic. I assume it's the Chinese or someone is making this technology, but if not, this doesn't interest me as much. You have a different opinion.
I do. Well, mainly it's someone here, everyone here seems to be alien skeptic here at the Daily Wire, from what I can tell. Someone has to come out on the pro-alien side, so I've decided to take that role. I admit that I'm fully on board with the UFO thing. I'm going to say right now I think they're space aliens. I admit that 85% of my opinion is based on what I hope is true. So I am putting feelings over facts in this case. I try not to do that generally, but here it's feelings over facts for me. I just want it to be true. But the 15% that is not feeling, I would say, look, we do know that there's something flying around in the skies. We've got video, we've got radar, we've also got eyewitness accounts from Navy pilots. 60 Minutes did a thing that 4 Navy pilots who observed this thing flying around for 5 minutes. So you got expert eyewitnesses who this is what they do for a living. They detect threats in the sky. They observe this thing for 5 minutes at a time, sustained up close. That's confirmed by radar and by video, which the public can see. That's pretty compelling evidence, at least, that there was something there. So we know that's not a camera trick. We know it's not hallucination. Something was there. Now it's just a question of what the heck was that thing. And either it's from this Earth or it's not. And if it's from this Earth, then there's some foreign entity that has technology that's, centuries beyond our own. And if that's the case, then, if China has the ability to build things that can basically break the laws of physics, from what we understand, why haven't they already conquered us and subjugated us by now? I mean, if they have that kind of technology, it just raises questions. So there's probably a million explanations that don't invoke space aliens, but I'm leaping right to the space aliens.
I'm pleased that you would leap that way. I do have an answer on the China question of it all, which is the reason they haven't just totally conquered us yet is we just keep giving them all our money and all our IP and all our, our culture and stuff.
So what do you think it is? What do you think the Tic Tac thing that's flying around over the ocean? No, it stops on a dime, then goes 80,000 miles an hour, and what is that thing?
No, it is entirely possible. I can't believe I have to. It is entirely possible that it's a little green man. I'm not even being facetious. It is possible. Gotcha. You haven't persuaded me that that's likely, but I'm willing to keep an open mind. You and I, we're very open-minded people. Our political opponents don't understand that. Cabot, what the hell is this?
All right, so I have a timeline for you here. I'm going to walk you through, because I think there are like 2 parts to this conversation. There's the one part that's goofy, where we all laugh at it. We say, this is hilarious, it's UFOs, it's aliens, whatever. Yeah. And then there's the other part where you say, okay, there are enough serious officials within the United States government that are saying, this is a national security threat. There are things that have been documented. We don't know what they are. Let's figure it out. So I think it is important to have like a serious conversation while at the same time couching it in a fun way. So I'm going to give you a quick timeline. Okay. So early 2000s, a lot of our pilots start seeing a lot more UFO sightings. They call them UAPs in the government. They start making reports. In 2007, Harry Reid, who at the time was the Senate Majority Leader, comes out and says, we're going to create a government program to investigate all of these UAPs. That's called the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. This runs for 5 years. It's a top secret operation within the Pentagon. They document all sorts of UAPs there, from pilots saying there are things they can't explain that are observing off of the coasts of ships, off the coasts of our seas, popping up in the middle of nowhere. They're investigating, they're gathering evidence, getting many of these things on videos. So for 5 years, those videos are kept secret. And then at the end of the 5 years, budget cuts come in, and that government program is shut down in 2012. Over the next few years, there are still even more sightings that are going on with pilots, people saying we have no clue what these things are. So in 2019, the Pentagon restarts another program called the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force. That's created in 2019-2020. They start getting together even more videos of things that are traveling, they're saying on radar, going up and down 80,000 feet in 2 to 3 seconds, things that are far beyond US technology at this point. So then they start releasing some of these videos to the public in 2019-2020. The government says these are authentic. As of last month, they come out and they say, yeah, all those videos that were leaked, some of the videos that you saw, those are all authentic videos. We don't know what they are. And so now the Senate Intelligence Committee has said, wait a second, this is a national security threat. The U.S. government truly doesn't know what they are. I think a lot of people were saying, well, maybe this is the U.S. government. The Intel Committee is saying this isn't us. We need to investigate. So there's going to be a hearing next month where this Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force is going to have to present their findings as of now to the Senate Intelligence Committee. So we're going to be getting a lot more answers on what a lot of these things are on video, what a lot of these reportings are.
So it seems to me there are multiple stages before we get to the point that Mars attacks, right? The first question is it us? I know that government officials are saying that it's not us. And we know that the government would never lie to the American people, right? We haven't just been through that ringer. So I think we got to try to answer that question first. But then let's say that the government officials are above board. It actually isn't us or any segment of the federal government. Isn't it just the Chinese? I don't know. I mean, what I'm being told is that we don't have the capabilities to make this kind of technology. Whoever made this is far more advanced than we are in terms of math, in terms of physics, in terms of engineering. It's just the Chinese, right? Isn't that a fair assumption?
So to get to both your questions there, the first one, and I'm not some ideologue one way or the other on this. I'm just kind of letting you know where things are right now, which is usually what conspiracy theorists say. They say, look, I don't have a dog in this fight.
I'm just asking questions,
Just asking the questions here. So to answer your first question, is it the United States government? Oh, it absolutely could be. And I think the timing is interesting. Space Force just comes out. Wouldn't this be a great way to rally support for Space Force funding? And if people start saying, well, do we really need Space Force? It would be great timing for them to say, well, look at all this stuff. This is why we need to pour billions and billions of dollars into Space Force. That makes sense. However, the Pentagon is saying, we're releasing all of this footage now because, in their words, quote, the videos did not reveal any sensitive information or capabilities. So the only videos we're seeing are ones that they're saying, these are the ones that don't reveal any sensitive capabilities. I'm wondering what other videos there are. And also, people are saying, and I agree with this point, if it is us, why release the videos? We're kind of tipping our hand if it is us. And there could be some lack of communication where it's some other government entity and the Pentagon is doing this against their will, releasing these videos. If it is the Chinese, there's been some sort of quantum leap. Our defense officials in all of these interviews that you're reading, they're coming out saying if it's the Chinese, they are far beyond anything we imagined. But at the same time, why is that technology not manifesting itself in other areas of their military? Their Navy, their nuclear submarines, their aircraft carriers are archaic compared to the United States military. And so why is it not manifesting it there? I want to read a couple quotes too. Sean Cahill, the U.S. Navy Chief Master at Arms, said, what they're seeing, quote, indicates a technology that outstrips our arsenal by at least 100 years to 1,000 years at the moment. Chris Mellon, the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence under Presidents Clinton and George W. Bush, said, quote, the acceleration is far beyond anything we're capable of. There's nothing we can build that would be strong enough to endure the amount of force and acceleration that we're seeing. So these are like legit government officials. These aren't some random guy that says, oh, I used to be in the Navy and we'd see these things all the time. These are real people saying, guys, we need to look at this. And if it is the Chinese, that's terrifying. I actually think that's more terrifying than this being some otherworldly thing, because if it's the Chinese that are doing this, they've got stuff that we can't even compete with, or at least we can't compete with based on what our government is saying.
That's true. We might be able to compete with the Martians, but I think we've proven over the last 20 years we cannot compete with the Chinese. Okay, so I accept those answers. Let's go to the craziest possible conclusion.
Oh, let's go there, Michael.
Let's go and let's say, just like in that movie from the 90s, it's the guys with the brain heads and the helmets and the beep boop, right, and all that. And the Martians are here. They haven't really been attacking us or anything, right? They're just kind of, they've got their little tic tacs and they're making some trouble in the oceans, but nothing too aggressive. What? I can't believe I'm asking this on the air. What does it mean for us if there are aliens, intelligent aliens, visiting Earth?
I love that you start laughing right as you say that. I'm laughing as I'm hearing it. I don't know what it means. Michael, I'm not some UFO guy. I don't sit around thinking about these things. I know you bring me on as the UFO expert.
You got the green light behind you.
I'm more fascinated in this story, and I can't believe more people aren't talking about this, frankly. I mean, this was one of the #1 stories on the Daily Wire for the last couple of days because of the fact that I do think people are interested in it. But from a national media standpoint, it kind of seems like it made a little blip on the radar. 60 Minutes ran the piece. But now I think everyone is afraid of being viewed as crazy. Everyone is afraid of acknowledging that elephant in the room. So, okay, our government is saying that it's not us and that it's 100 to 1,000 years ahead of us. Our government is also telling us, don't worry, we're way ahead of the Chinese and Russia and every other country. So it kind of leaves this thing hanging there of, well, wait a second, what's going on here? What is this? I want to read one more quote here for the people at home that are saying, all right, well, this is just a few people. What are we really dealing with here? I also would encourage people, go read the article on dailywire.com. It's worth reading. It's very interesting stuff. So this is Lou Elizondo. He's the former director of Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. So this is that group Harry Reid created. They had hundreds of millions of dollars in research over the years that they were using. He said, quote, imagine a technology that can do 600 to 700 G-forces, that can fly at 13,000 miles an hour, that can evade radar, and that can fly through air and water and possibly space. And oh, by the way, it has no obvious signs of propulsion, no wings, no control surfaces, and yet can still defy the natural effects of Earth's gravity. That is precisely what we are seeing. So this is a guy, he's been in the military for 30 years. He's headed up this top secret program that's now been declassified. And he's coming out saying, that's where we are, kind of putting it in no uncertain terms. So there aren't really any comforting answers on what this is, because if it is another country, we're screwed. If it's aliens, theoretically we're screwed. So the moral of the story is that we're screwed, Mike.
Wow, thanks for that uplifting conclusion. Because I have always thought, whenever people talk about UFOs, I've always just thought, yeah, it's, you know, it's Cold War spy planes, or okay, after the Cold War, well, whatever, it's the Chinese or the Russians, or somebody's looking in on us. And then when people say, well, no, it could, maybe it's not. I mean, maybe really this technology is so advanced that there's just no way it's even one of our rivals. I think I have the least popular opinion on this at all, which is, if there are intelligent aliens and they are visiting Earth in Tic Tacs and they're flying all around, I don't really care. I know that sounds so insane. Obviously, it's a curiosity. I'd read some articles about it. I'd watch some shows. But in terms of how I view myself, my place in the universe, my religion, my philosophy, my politics, I actually don't think it would change very much.
Well, that makes sense, because the way that you view yourself in the universe is at the center of the universe. And so everything else is still just revolving.
It's
it doesn't
still
change
peripheral.
anything. For us average people with average levels of intelligence and understanding of the way that the cosmos functions, this is big for us, Michael. So I know for you this doesn't change much, but for us average folks, this is a pretty life-shattering thing for us to go through.
I can't believe what a softball I just gave you. I threw that. It was so easy. You knocked it out of the park. Cabot, thank you very much. You not only did you knock it out of the park, you knocked it out of the solar system, baby. That's right.
I am now defying the laws of physics, just like our Martian friends.
Cabot, thank you very much for this very, I'm not even being facetious here. That was a very insightful, bizarre, and interesting report.